If you're not using Google Docs, then you're missing out on so much. So first, let's just access our Google Docs. So you just need to log into your email and then click on the buttons here and get this Google products. Click on the Docs option. Now Google Docs works more like Microsoft Word or maybe the WPS application that is available for mobile devices to edit your Word documents. Once you're on this page, you have the options to create a blank page or a blank document, and then you have these templates that are listed here for you. Now you can always choose or just go with the option that best fits your needs. Below this, below the template options, you do have the recent document. So these are all the templates that you have. You see there's quite a lot of them. So if I go back, you'll notice that below this I have the recently edited document. So let's just pick one previously created document. So if I click on this here, generation of computers, so this is already a document that was created before, and we just want to use it for our editing purposes today. Before we get to this, let's have a quick run through of the available menus and what they do, and then we'll have an in-depth look at each and every one of them. Under the file menu, this is where you can create a new document or choose a template. You can open a previously created document and edit it. You can make a copy of your document if you wanted to use two versions of this. So maybe you wanted to send close documents to different people, but you just want to have them edited differently, so you can create a copy of that. Then you can share it, publish to the web, email, download, rename, and move it. So you move it to a different location, and then we also have the options for language and page setup and print. So those are just the basic things that you have under the file menu. Now under edit, you can undo and redo changes. This is basically helps you if you want to just go back a few steps and change a few things, and also maybe move forward. Paste option, now this on text movement, then you can paste without formatting. Now one very interesting feature that we have here is find and replace, and I'll show you how to use it when we be looking at the edit menu in depth. We have the view, which normally just helps you with your display. This can help you clear your screen a little bit, so that we don't have to keep this for the next part. So if I say, for instance, I have the ruler guide here, which can help me change the position, maybe the sizing of the top and the bottom. So if I remove that, the ruler guide disappears. So I can clear this a little bit. I can hide the outline also, but it's normally important if I want to show that outline. Then we are left with anything in the view menu? Not really. And the insert menu, this is where most of the magic happens. This is where you add everything from images to tables to text and all that. So image, you can add an image from your computer, you can search from the web, you can get it from your Google Drive, which is also another feature that is provided by Google. If you use Google Photos for your device, that works too. You can add through a URL or take a photo using your device's camera if you have one, or a webcam if you're using a mobile phone with a good camera. Now you have the table options. If you want to insert a table, you simply just hover over here and then come and select the number of rows and columns. If you want 5, 10, we'll create a sample table and see how we can do that. You can create a drawing, you can use charts, bars, graphs, and lines, add emojis, smart chips, add a date for your document, add a drop down if you have a number of options, footnote, building blocks, special characters, equations. You can add a watermark. We'll also see how this works. Add headers and footers, and page numbers, and insert a link. Under the format menu, we have, this is where now after creating your document, you need to have a few tweaks here and there. You need to edit, you need to make changes, so you can format the text, bold, italics. These features are usually available in the home menu of a Microsoft Office Word window or document, so you could be familiar with them if you've used Microsoft Office. Paragraphing in style, this is just formatting. The indentation also comes here, line spacing and paragraphing, columns, bullets. So this is just the formatting features that we'll use later or look at. Under tools, this is where you now you do the professional part. You've created a research paper, you need to do some grammar and spelling check. You have written an article or a blog, you activate this and use this. You can get the number of words on your page, review suggested edits, and do all this here that Google provides you with. Extensions, not very important, and help, that's where you seek help from when you are maybe in some need of assistance or something doesn't work out. So now that you're done with the menus, let's begin with the basics. One of the main basic things that we can start with is just formatting a text document like this one. So first of all, we'll begin with the headers, because that's the first thing that comes in your document. What kind of headers are you supposed to use? Now, we do have different heading options. The first one and the most important one, I can say, is the heading 1, which is the title of your document. So in this case, we have this as our title, and we need to set this as H1, because when we export this, either downloading it or through copying and pasting, the title of which is this, which is normally taken as H1, will not be copied. So this only maybe gets copied when you download it, but it will still only be the file name, but will not be within your content. So I'll have to select this and go to the format menu, go to paragraphs and style, and select apply heading 1. You notice that the size changes, maybe the appearance also changes. If I want to bold this, I can change that. I'll leave the alignment to the left, alignment options here, because that appears much more professional. So once I've done that, I can continue with my first paragraph here. Like this is not even the first paragraph. I can make this heading 2. But if I needed to give a definition of this, of computers here, before going to my heading 2, then I'll make it a paragraph down there and type my definition right there, something like that. So then now, once I've done that, I can add a heading 2, which now becomes the options. So I'll click on the format menu and then click here and change that to heading 2, for instance. So you notice that this is the main heading, this is a subheading. You can add other smaller headings within your subheadings here. This help your content appear presentable, and also help with the search engine optimization if you're creating content for the web, because most Google boards, or maybe Google requires that you add these headings so that it becomes easier to scan through your website and know what it is all about. Because remember, in your headings and subheadings, you'll have some keywords that reflect or touch on your topic of maybe discussion. So the same can apply here. I can select this and go to the format option, or under here, then change that heading to apply heading 2, and also change that to bold. I can also increase and decrease the font size of this content here, the headings and the subheadings of my document. Now, if I want to add an image, which is actually the next thing, so let's go through them one by one under this insert menu. I think that is an easier way to do this. So first, we've added heading, so we want to add an image. So you can always add an image from your computer, drive photos like we talked about before. So I'll just come to this section and assume that I wanted my first image to appear in that section. So to create more space, I can just press there and click on, and maybe click there and press enter. Then I'll insert an image from here. I'll click on upload from computer, and then I'll try to look for let me see if I can find something that is related to what I want. Will I get anything? Not really. Let me see, do I have anything like that? Okay, let me just use this. So if I inserted this image here, for instance, I can do some edits to this image. I can resize it, I can reposition it within my text. So this is also an important aspect. You do have the alignment option, but the main thing is positioning your image within the text. The main one inline is what is normally set by default, but if I want to change this to something like this, you'll notice that the position of this text changes. So you can use this or this. If I do this, then no text is appears anywhere within the image. If I do this, the text goes over the image. This is not advisable if you want your image to be visible, if there is a detail of your image that you would like people to see. So these last two are not preferable. This text goes behind for the last one. You notice that. Then now I'll return it to the basic one. Then I can resize that image, make it smaller or bigger. The other formatting features that I can do for this image, I can access by right clicking on it. Then I'll see these options. I can cut, copy, paste without formatting. I can delete this image, crop it if I feel like it's the sections that I do not want. I can replace the image, just go back to upload from computer, and then I'll get a different image. Now, two last important things here is the alt text and the insert. Okay, comments are also important, but not commonly used. So alt text helps the Google bots or anything that searches your content, whether it's on a website or on a page, helps it understand what that image is about, because computers cannot read images, and they cannot only read this text when it is translated into the binary system, zeros and ones. That's actually computer language. So with the alt text, you'll be giving information to the bots. They'll scan it and understand what your content is talking about. So if this, in this case, if I just type image, then I'll just say image alt basic and click on OK. I'll have named that image. The other two things that we were talking about was a link. If you want to link this image to a different destination, or you want somebody to be redirected to a different place, you just click on that and insert link. You can do it from here, or click on this button, or click on the insert menu too, and then you have the option to insert link. So three ways: right click, insert link, click on this button here, or from the that option. So if I add a copied link before, I'll paste it there, click on apply. Then now if I click on this image, that image, the link will be previewed with what I have on it, so somebody will know exactly where they are headed to when you've added that link to the background. So what else were we to look at here? We had the comment. Now if you want to add a comment on an image, you can as well do that. Then share it with somebody. If you wanted them to edit it, or you wanted their thought on it, then you can add it, and you can click on that, add the comment and share, and get their thought on that image within your content. The other thing that I believe is important is how to add a link, and this link is now in form of a button. You can add links in two ways. So the first way is just by embedding the link within the text. So let's say example, I wanted to maybe add a link to a different page that has more information on something like Fortran. So let me copy this and search it on Google, and then can paste that there and search. Then I need this person to be redirected to this page that has information on Fortran. So I'll come here and on this, right, select it and then click on this, or on the insert from here, but I prefer using the shortcut. So I'll click on that and then I'll insert that link and apply. Then you'll notice that the color is changed and then it is highlighted. And if I click on it, there's a preview of the link and the website that it leads to. Now, if I want to add a button, something a bit catchy and clearer for the viewer of my content, then what I'll have to do is I'll have to add a button. So let's say I want to add it immediately below this. So what I'll do is I'll draw. So I'll insert a drawing, then go to the top and click on drawing, then I'll click on a new drawing. Then I have the shape options. So under this I'll be given the option to insert a shape. So I'll click on the shapes and then go to this and take this, because this looks more like a button. It is a rounded rectangle. Then I'll draw it. Then on that shape I can type some text and say can I paste the word Fortran? No, that's the link. So I want to just type click here to learn more, or I can just use learn more, depends on what you choose. So then I can format this, the background of this, and add a color for my button if I wanted it to appear that way. Then maybe change the color of this text as well. If I don't like the color, I'll change it to something like white, make it more visible. Then yeah, now once I've done this, I'll click on save and close. Then my button will appear there. But then there's one thing that has not been done to this link. It is not, to the button is not linked. So I'll click on it, then go to insert or click on that link button. Then I'll paste my link there, the link that I had pasted on the text. So these links are going to perform the same role. This is embedded within text and this is in a button. I can increase or decrease the size of this button depending on the preference. I can make it much bigger, though it will look too stretchy and it also take up space within my document. But if my intention is to attract people's or readers' attention, then I'll probably prefer the bigger option. That's inserting a button. So how do you use tables? So let's see. You already say that you can just select the number of rows and columns, but there are things, there are edits that you can make if you want to insert a table. So let's do it here. Let's just insert a simple table here. I'm just going to press enter, then click on insert and add a table. So I'll select let's say 5 columns and 4 rows. So this table, there are things that I can do to it. One, I can select the top section and merge it, combine the cells to type my heading, and then this heading I can center it, select, go to alignment options here and center it. I can bold it and I can increase the font size. Then if I want to increase the size of these cells, I just click on that and drag, or maybe reduce the size. If I want to add the number or increase the number of rows and columns, I just right click on any and then select either insert row above. You notice that rows are increased, and then I can also do that, insert column to the left, add more columns there. Then I'll have increased the size of my table. The other thing that I can do here is maybe do a bit more formatting within the cell after entering data. So I just click on this, any cell, click on that drop down and add this formattings here. If I had content here, I just right click and change the content, but now it is showing you need the option to edit the cell itself because it is still an empty one. The other feature that you can add from the insert menu is charts. Now charts, you use them when you need to present your data. Maybe you have some statistics or you have something that you need to present in the form of a bar, graph, column, charts, or maybe line graphs or pie charts. So that is also accessible from here. So you can create a new document, a sheet by creating a table, or you can import one from sheet, an already created document, and add it to your docs here. So that's one that you can try out later. Now horizontal lines are important if you want to maybe create section dividers, or you want to add and maybe signature lines, or maybe places where you can type your name. So let's say for instance I wanted to add a section divider for this section. So I'll click on insert, and I'll take horizontal line. So that section has been divided. It can also be used to type maybe signature. So if I wanted to maybe give details here, name, so type your name there, then I'll move that. We can tab it, then I can say maybe position, then in the position I can just type something like that. Then now the name can appear here at the top or down there, depends on where you want it to be. Then if I wanted to add a signature line there, just press enter, shift and hyphen on my keyboard, and at the beginning here type the word signature, then I can add my signature down on that section. So that's how you use the horizontal line. All these other options, clearer, your dates, your drop downs, if you have many options and you would like to list them in a drop down instead of having it all created as a list, you can create a drop down for that. Then you have footnotes, building blocks, just a few editing features here and there. Watermarks are also important if you want to personalize your content. You want to have an image of yourself, of maybe some restrictive words behind the content. So if I wanted to add a watermark, I'll click on that, then add an image. So let's say I wanted to add a picture of myself. I'll browse, and then after clicking on that, I'll go to this and pick that, and then my image loads. Once it has loaded, I'll select done. Faded, you have the option to make it faded or clear, but it's my preferred faded, so that the content does not it does not overshadow your content. So I'll click on done. So you see how that watermark appears, and this makes it very hard for somebody to edit or misuse your content. The only way they can do that is if they copy this content and paste it elsewhere. But if they want to just replicate it by duplicating, it won't work, because the watermark will not be editable on their end. Now, once you have added the image watermark, there's another option to add text watermark. So let's have a look at that too. So if I wanted to add text watermark, I still do that, and type my text and decide how it looks like, the transparency, the placement. You have the options. Then once you're done, click on done. But since I've already selected image watermark, I'm not going to do that. Here what we're left with is headers and footers, which are also important. If you want to add a header or a footer, use this option. You want to add page numbers, you have a list of the previews right here. You've created a 200-page document and you'd like to add page numbers, then you can do that. Now, we've already talked about how to add a link, which we said you can access from here, or this button here. So links can be added to images or text, or it can even just be pasted within a page. One thing that we should have started with, but we didn't use, is the table of contents. Now, if you are creating let's say something like a guide, for instance, then you would prefer, it would be preferable if you used a table of contents. So if I added there and then move down and say table of contents and selected with blue links, so it already takes what I have created as my headers. So you see that my heading, generation of computers, and then the sub headings there. So if I had heading 3, let's try that and see if it works out. If I had something like here, heading 3, and make this H3, let's just make this as our H3 and see what happens. Apply heading 3. It's supposed to pick here, but now because we already created it, you not have that. But now when you go to the document outline, you'll see it is now displayed here the way it's supposed to be. You look at that, first generation, second generation. So that's another thing that you can do using table of contents from the insert menu to organize your work, or so somebody gets at least a clear view of what they can get, what they're going to get from the piece that you are sharing with them. I think that's it for the insert menu. Comments are just if you want to share a document with someone, you need a thought on that from them on your created content, you can add it on an image or any section, right click, add comment, and yeah. Then under format menu, we've already talked about adding headings, borders and shading. This is just a few formatting features. You can add all the headings that we've discussed when creating the H1s, H2s, H3s that we have looked at on the previous. Alignment and indent is text positioning on the page. You can align text on the left, right, center, justified, or evenly distributed within your page. That's what justified means. Increase indent, decrease indent. This is just the position of the text from the margin of your page. So if I wanted to do this here, then I'll go to format and talk about maybe increase indent. You'll notice that the indent has moved from this position to this position. So that's what that does. Line spacing and paragraphing, this helps with visibility. So if I wanted to increase the visibility of this, I just make it much more easier to read. Then I'll select it, then go to format, then go to line spacing and increase. If I say double, you notice that the space between the lines has increased. If I do the same for character spacing, let's go to format, paragraph spacing. Oh no, this works for paragraph spacing, it's not working for character. So this is for the space between paragraphs. Then you have columns. If you want to insert several columns within your portrait page, you can do that. Bullets and numbering, create lists, number your items and make them presentable. And then page numbers, headers and footers, we looked at that when we are using the insert. The other thing is that you can clear all formatting if you want your document go back to the default way it was when you were first creating it. Finally, let's have a look at tools, because it's the main one. Now, like we said before, spelling and grammar helps you edit your document if you may be working on a project and it is maybe grammatical sensitive, or you're expected to use an acceptable or maybe a certain set of conditions in grammar. So this will help you work on that. Spelling suggestions, you activate all this. You can run a spelling and grammar check once you're done with your creation and you feel like you just need to go through it before sharing it or creating a presentation. The next thing that we have under tools, so we've looked at spelling and grammar. You have word count. You're targeting a specific number of words, then you just type and then activate word count. If I click on word count, you can see in my case I have 413 words on the document that I've just opened. It shows you the characters and all. So you can choose to display the word count, which normally appears on the bottom left hand side. So this is showing me the selected section. If I deselect, shows what we have on the entire page, that is for word count. So this also helps you reviews, suggested edits, document comparisons, and all this. This is just important when you're editing your documents. It's just a way to make your piece better or much more improved. You have the translate document. You can translate this to a different language. Let's try that and see it works out. This generation of computers, and then click on tools and say translate to which language. Let's take something like let's take Arabic and see what works there. So it will open it in a new tab. That means that you must have this. Now look at that. it is opened in an entirely different page. So you have Arabic. So what happens here is that you can create a document and then translate it and then share it with different people, just to get them to read it in their own language and understand it better. So that's another interesting feature that you can use from Docs. Voice typing works if you maybe want to just read out something and then edit it later. I think you've had speech to text. You've seen speech to text applications or features even from your phone. So this is what voice typing does, and you must make sure that your device microphone is good enough and it can capture your audio clearly and get the words. And then you should also try to be articulate when you're pronouncing your words, so that it does not miss the important aspects or the important parts. So that's what voice typing does for you. These are just other basic settings that you do when you are using Google Docs. So that is just like an entirely everything. You may have missed one or two things, but it's actually most of the things that you use when you are using this Google Docs to create or edit your document. There's always more to learn every day, so it's up to you to just go and try to experiment, see if you can learn a few new things every single day in your creation process. So there is more that's going to come on Google. So we've just looked at one feature from within the Google documents, and hopefully we can have a look at everything and share and get to understand how it works. Any questions or thoughts can be shared within comments, so that we can help each other create better content.